and welcome to Borgcast Lower Decks 4.6 with Anne-Marie and Peter.
Hello.
Hello. Have we got any last time?
Nope.
No? Right, so we're straight into Parth Ferengi's heart place.
Blood. 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 And bits of sick.
Exactly, yes. I wonder how... I have no idea how well known that is in the States.
No.
Darth Merengue's Dark Place or whatever it's Garth Marenghi.
Ferengi's Dark Place, yeah.
I mean, it's somewhat obscure here, to be honest,
Yeah.
but wow. And for ages, I'm thinking, why is it called Parth Ferengi's Heart Place? And it took me the third watch, effectively, to realise, the guy, the Hugsy Edge, as he calls himself, is Parth, the Ferengi, and it's his heart place.
Oh.
I know. So obscure, isn't it? Because I think he's only named once, maybe twice. Oh. But yeah.
Gosh.
Captain's log, stardate 58901.5. The Cerritos has traveled to Ferenginar. The Ferengi leadership is submitting a formal application to begin the process of joining the Federation, an alliance that could benefit the entire quadrant. This may just be a first step, but it's still a historic occasion.
You start off with some Ferengi on a ship.
Yes! It's a new Ferengi ship. We've not seen this type before.
Have we not?
No, it's not your usual Marauder or shuttlecraft, obviously. I like it. It's chunky. Chunky Ferengi ship. And the bridge is fantastic.
So what is it then?
We don't know.
Oh.
It's no classification yet.
Oh. Anyway, I didn't notice the ship because, I'm more normal.
You fail.
Sorry. But the crew are sort of complaining they've got to dump all these weapons. And it's like, no more arms sales by order of Nagus Rom, which I like as a continuity.
Yeah, it's all changed now. And that's one of the beautiful things about this series. It properly does continuity in a way that the later Next Generation Trek films didn't. Yeah. And to be honest, Picard messed things up as well. Yeah. But we now pretend those don't exist.
Yes. Because Rom says hospitality is more profitable than arms sales. I mean, it's... I do like in the rules of acquisition you have war is good for business and then the next one is peace is good for business. It's
I just had a moth flew right into my face.
Oh,
it didn't end up in my beard at least, but that was a thing. Whoa. Dive bomb me.
Did it want your beer?
Well, I don't know if it did. It missed by some way. Oh. Hit me in the forehead instead.
Anyway, back to the episode rather than moths.
Yes.
One of them knocks over something and the other one goes, no, that's a Genesis device. And he's like, it's too small. So, no, it's an updated Genesis device.
Fun size.
You could have rewritten our molecules. And then the red alert goes off and they're under attack. One of them is clearly behind this and that ship appears.
Mm-hmm.
And just as the captain's going, I don't trust you. I only ever let you on my ship as a favour to your uncle. They get zapped.
Yes.
That's your teaser.
Mm-hmm.
After the teaser, you've got the Cerritos and another ship, but I didn't catch which one it was.
Let me inform you then.
Right.
It's the USS Toronto, which is a Parliament class. This is the second named Parliament class ship of the series. First was USS Vancouver. So there's a Canadian theme, which, at least it's not all United Statesian places anyway. But we're still waiting for our English/British themed ones.
Yeah.
And the USS Milton Keynes.
Yes. Yeah, we are. The thing is, though, I quite like the sound of the USS Aberdeen. I think it sounds good.
I think there should be separate design, named classes for England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland. I think that'd be great. The Welsh ones would be amazing, wouldn't they?
They'd be dragon class.
They'd run out of space on that. They'd have to have extra big saucers to fit the name on.
I think Wayne might have a bone to pick with
well,
you.
Well, maybe. I think that's good-natured, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Not all of their place names are long, though. Towyn is not long.
No, it's true. That's true. But they do have the longest place name in the whole of the United Kingdom. So.
Yeah, that's true. But that isn't a city, though, is it? It's like us having, in England, the USS Borton under the water. I mean, do you know what I mean? It's not...
A bit obscure.
Yeah, or...
Have you stolen the bottle? I know, I've got it.
No, I haven't. Yeah. Cheek.
It's a Ferengi episode.
Yeah, true.
You can charge me Latinum for the bottle opener.
Yeah. Charge you Latinum for... What was it he had in his quarters? Was it a machine that charges you for paying to pay for the machine or something?
For the toilet.
Yeah. But you had to pay for the toilet, and then there was a machine that charged you
to let you pay
for the something like that. Anyway, bizarre. So you got the Ferengi are now petitioning to join the Federation, and then some admiral dude.
Vassery, who's seen having his accent taken the mick out of by Mariner in Moist Vessel.
Well, and he makes some kind of joke about Moab 4. Am I supposed to know the Moab 4 joke?
That is a very deep cut from Next Generation's The Masterpiece Society, where they're all genetically perfect.
Oh, that
Yeah.
sleazebag one
Yeah.
that Deanna falls for.
Yes. She had never fell for anybody good, did she?
No, she had terrible taste.
Except for Worf, obviously. And right.
We don't count that though.
Yeah, do we not?
No.
Bless.
And then you get introduced to Grand Nagus Rom.
Hooray!
And first something Lita, but I didn't catch what.
Oh, it was First Clark Leader or something like
Okay.
that, wasn't it?
Fair enough.
Yes. I'm going to have to look that up now because I did make a note of that one, but yes.
I didn't catch the title. I just got first and Lita, and I didn't catch the middle word. And they come with a gift, which is a bust of the Admiral, and then an invoice for the gift. I love that. And then they say, you have got the friends and family discount, which I like. And then you're in a hangar bay, and you've got Tendi and Rutherford working together on something, and they're finishing each other's sentences like they always do. But Mariner is doing something to a self-sealing stem bolt to the extent that it's not going to be self-sealing anymore. And I just love the reference to that coming up again, which I like. Anyway, Ransom appears, saying he's got the best duty ever for them, and Tendi and Rutherford come up with some science thing, I don't know what exactly. But Mariner's like, travel guide duty? I thought that was a myth. And it's like, so we go to this club, and we go to this place, we go to this bar, and we go to this saloon, and he's like, yeah, and some museums, but yes, you're right, it is mostly bars. And Mariner's like, yay, that's brilliant. And Boimler immediately starts preparing an itinerary and just sort of completely going overboard, and then runs out going, I'm going to put together an itinerary. And you get Ransom going, does he drink a lot of coffee? And it's like, yes. But they have to have a couple go. And he said, they're basically like, there's lots of people having casual sex and nobody really in a relationship. They don't have a married couple. They
do not have... I mean, that stretches the imagination a bit, doesn't it? But anyway, I suppose it needs to be that way for the purposes of drama, doesn't it?
I mean, I suppose if it's not that big a ship, you could have people that are married, but their spouse is not on the ship.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we know that's the case in Freeman, isn't it?
Yeah. So you have Tendi and Rutherford are going to pretend to be married. And then Mariner turns around to Ransom and just looks at him and says, it's so weird when you're nice. And he's like, that's because I'm handsome as well. I'm the complete package, which I just like. So
First Clerk. Or Clark.
Clark, yeah. So they beam down to Ferengi where, of course, it's raining. And amongst the attractions that you see as the ship descends is I liked Uncle Quark's youth casino.
I love the rain effect they've done with the animation. That looks really good.
It does look really good.
And you get to see a Ferengi shuttle in the background as well, which is cool.
And you've got a museum of gambling and a museum of...
Oh, I'm just so excited to haggle at the Museum of Gambling. Oh, and gamble at the Museum of Haggling!
Tendi and Rutherford start off sort of saying, it's all going to be fine, and then they begin to get more and more awkward just as they walk into the big hotel, which is Somebody's Lobes, it's called.
Yeah. Oh, did you notice the raincoats they're wearing, by the way?
No.
They're great. They're obviously Starfleet issue. They've got like the division colours.
Oh, okay.
Going around like the hood bit. So cool.
So it's Somebody's Lobes, but I forgot whose Lobes it was, the hotel. And they're just sort of like, this is getting really awkward and clearly wanting to quit it, when you suddenly get this, it's our VIPs, and there's this massive heart fanfare and confetti drops and whatever.
Yeah, well, it's a very phallic firework that Parth sets off, isn't it? Blimey.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
He's voiced by Dave Foley, by the way. He was the voice of Flick the Ant in Bug's Life.
Okay.
It was one of those that Child 1 watched an awful lot, so...
The thing I remember Child 1 watching most, to be honest, was SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, no, Finding Nemo was the one he watched the most. That was really... I knew every word of dialogue in that film.
Did you? So, Boimler goes into his room and he's like, yep, check a pay-to-use toilet, a machine that charges you for the pay-to-use enables you to pay for the pay-to-use toilet. I reckon it must be one of those, like you get those machines in some casinos where you have to, or arcades where you can only play with chips and not money. And so
It
you
used
have
to be
to put
the same with Fairgrounds as well, I
Yeah.
think it still is.
And so you had to put your money in to get tokens, but it always kept some of it. So it wasn't like £1 was like 10 tokens or whatever. It was £1 would be 8 tokens, and it's taken half your money. So that's clearly what that machine is. And he puts the telly on, and he's amazed by an advert for Sluggo Cola, and he's just like,
well,
they
Sluggo
lied to
Cola
you.
makes a return.
Yes.
From season 6's dire Deep Space Nine episode Profit and Lace. Yeah. First mentioned in Ira Bear and Robert Hewitt Wolf's Legends of the Ferengi book, which also listed all the rules of acquisition, quite a few of which get quoted in this episode. Sluggo Cola also crops up in season 3 of Picard, and season 5 of Discovery as well, apparently.
Yes, I seem to remember it coming up. So he's just like, what? They lied to you? So he loves adverts. And then he ends up getting drawn in by something that, to be fair, I think I probably watched. It's called Pogandar Cop Landlords.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
I was like, yeah, I probably watched that, to be fair. So he sits down and he reaches for some. Well, they're not crisps.
They're Sluggo Cola flavoured crisps, apparently.
Oh, like the ghost ship ones that we got.
Yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile, Mariner meets up with, is it Quim?
Quimp, not Quim. That'd be unfortunate.
Yeah,
Quimp.
Quimp.
With a P.
Right, with P.
Returns from season 1's envoys.
She's like, right, we want these drinks and these drinks. And it's a load of them. And he's like, it's only 10 a.m. She's like, geez, already 10 a.m. And to make that 3. And as the waiter walks past, she knocks back a shot. And he's like, where did you even get that from?
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that. Meanwhile, on the Cerritos, Nog and Lita are sort of... Rom and Lita are being addressed. And Rom was going, just Nagus. And then the dude... Who's the dude that's with them? That sort of announces them?
I don't... hang on, let me... Because there's a... Rom's got a female... what's the name of the Beatles snuff, wasn't it? Hyperion?
Yeah, Hyperion.
Yes. Like Mayardu.
Yeah.
But
if that's not the one I'm thinking of, it's the little...
Yeah, the little fellow is called the Herald, apparently.
Oh, right.
He looks like he's wearing an old school dog collar.
Right,
a.k.a. the screw top.
Yeah. Anyway, the moment Rom says just Nagus, and so the Admiral says Nagus, this Herald guy goes, Grand Nagus. Anyway, Rom basically seems to be just interested in baseball.
Yeah.
Which is...
It's adorable, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to be an act, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's still adorable anyway.
Rom seems to be only interested in playing baseball. Meanwhile, Lita comes over and says, look, we just need to make a few alterations and then he'll sign and it'll be fine. And Freeman is saying to the other Admiral, look, this is a classic good cop, bad cop. They're playing you. And he's just like, oh, we can open the contract. She's like, it's supposed to be locked, but, it's not.
Boimler is amazed to discover that Ferengi TV has adverts in the programmes. I'm glad that's not a thing for Earth in the future, therefore. Now, if at any point at the start of the episode, and if at any point you pause, which I do a lot to do screen grabs, a little message comes up saying, warning contains product placement.
Yeah.
And initially I thought, well, that can't be for Sluggo Cola, because Sluggo Cola isn't actually a thing. But I hadn't realised it until reading the notes on Memory Alpha in this scene when he makes a joke about there being adverts in the programmes. There's behind him is the Paramount Mountain, which kind of twinkles.
Yeah.
Hey. But the concept of landlord cops is a pure Ferengi idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then Boims gets drawn into a workplace dating programme. Meanwhile, the honeymoon suite is covered with hearts. Everything's heart-shaped, and Rutherford suggests a better shape to use would be kissing lips, or tellingly green eyes would be a better symbol of love. Parth returns to provide outfits for their couple's photo session. I mean, they both look incredible, don't they?
They do.
And just when they've had enough of romantic poses, they're presented with the lingeries for the next shoot, and they run for it. Mariner is playing Dabo with Quimp in the library because Ferengi are. She's wearing an amazing drinking hat that incorporates Ferengi ears.
Yeah, I love it.
A pumped Ferengi biker spills their drinks and apologises profusely, but Mariner is steamed and wants a fight. Tendi and Rutherford are eating out at Quark's Starfleet Experience Bar and Grill, which is a lovely bit of design work, incorporating ship designs into an eating experience. I so wanted to be a real thing. They decide to quit pretending to be in a relationship as it's exhausting, but then Parth turns up to rumble another couple lying about being in a relationship, condemning them to a lifetime working in a subaquatic sulfur mine. Oh, it's all over the top. The Starfleet Knot couple are served sexy chocolate statues to themselves for dinner, and after every bite tell the whole restaurant about something they find attractive about each other, and they're going to be scanned for lies. Quimp bribes Mariner out of prison and points out how immature she's being, railing at nothing. They're at a memorial to... Well, it's a Dominion War memorial, but it's a memorial to the lost prophets rather than any Ferengi that died. Having passed the chocolate truth-telling test, Rutherford and Tendi now have to consummate their marriage in a discreet little room shaped like an original series shuttle, but in earshot of everybody. Very tasteful.
I think even you would balk at being in earshot of everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be all for the shuttle, obviously, but yeah. Miglimo enters the bar and outs them as just being platonic friends. And then the random way they get out of this potential trip to the sulfur mines is by professing their love to Miglimo and then simultaneously complaining that he's ruined their marriage. It's all a bit of a naff cop-out, to be honest. A cop-out of the cop-off, you might say.
Yeah. Well, I think what they're doing is they're saying that we both love you, but they...
He kind of come between them or something.
Something, I don't know.
It just doesn't
work,
work,
the thing is,
really.
they're making it up as they go along. And Miglimo is really confused as well. But because he's sort of confused and sort of, oh, I didn't know, and rather than a you're making this shit up kind of thing, I think the Ferengi are convinced by Miglimo, who's genuinely innocent if confused.
Yeah.
Rather than...
Doesn't really make any sense,
doesn't
but
make
never
enough,
mind.
No, they're winging it. They
Yeah.
are totally winging it.
In his palace, Nog makes Admiral Vassery dance for him, which is a truly sad
you mean
sight.
Rom, you've made the same mistake.
Oh, I've done
as
it
me.
again. Yeah, I'd even written Nog in my notes as well. Terrible, isn't it? Freeman has finally had enough of the Admiral's feebleness and adds a final clause of our own, insisting the Ferengi bring one other planet to the Federation before getting any of the benefits that they've wheedled out of Admiral Vassery. So Rom signs up straight away. But on the basis the planet is Kronos, homeworld of the Klingons, it ain't happening. He's impressed with Freeman's respect for Ferengi ways and signs the Standard Treaty instead.
I like that as well, because it is all about, they're just a pushover, and she's taken their culture seriously, and that's what he wanted.
And Vassery at least has the balls to apologise
Yeah.
to Freeman, which, he was being a typical man, really, throughout and ignoring her. Back on the Cerritos, Ransom checks up on the lieutenants. Mariner now has a massive debts as well as a hangover. Quite how she'll clear them when there's no money on Earth is a mystery. And presumably there are worlds in the Federation that still use currency, otherwise the Ferengi would never join, would they? Here's a thought.
Well, also, in DS9, how did Cisco have... Because I know he had a tab for his officers or something at Quark's. There was
We discussed this back in the day. Yes, there had to be some sort of trade arrangement. If
Trade
not currency.
rather than currency, yeah.
Tendi and Rutherford are back to being the closest of friends. And Boimler is still watching TV in his pants on Ferenginar. I love that. Ransom congratulates him on his newfound ability to go with the flow and gets the local authorities to drag him out, literally kicking and screaming.
With Ferengi whips, and I like that touch.
So it's fascinating what they've done with Rutherford and Tendi. They started the series out looking like they'd become an item, but they never really pursued any romantic angle with them. They've just been really close friends.
Yeah.
And this kind of underlines it, really. They're not actually comfortable with the idea of being anything more than that. So I do think the resolution of their peril isn't very satisfactory, but the exploration of their relationship is. So I'll give them a pass.
Yeah, I think so, because you think initially, or maybe they're going to find all of that awkward because, really they do have those sorts of feelings for each other, but it's more like that it doesn't work for them.
It ruins their friendship and they want to stay friends. And some people have that sort of close relationship, don't they? So that's really sweet.
Yeah, and it's nice that not everything relationship has to be sexual all the time.
Yep.
You can have very, very close friendships.
Mariner takes another step towards self-awareness, and her relationship with Quimp is sweet. I'd be happy for another episode with him in it, to be honest. Boimler spends the entire episode watching TV, because of course he does.
I love that.
None of these, of course, are the A-plot, because lower decks. And it makes sense that Lieutenant Junior Graves wouldn't be involved in treaty negotiations. Yeah. And it's lovely to have Rom and Lita back too.
Yeah.
And their voices haven't changed that much over the years. So
no, they haven't. It'd be interesting to know whether the ones that have changed the most have smoked. Because I know that smoking deepens your voice. And I wonder whether... So for particularly Nana Visitor... Her voice, I don't know that she does smoke necessarily, but I wonder if she has smoked, if you see what I mean.
A lot of actors did back in the day.
They did, because her voice is much lower.
Yeah.
And that's it's not older, it's different, it's lower. Older voices are properly older anyway, you hear the false teeth. You get that with David Attenborough now, you can hear the false teeth. And they speak slower because nothing reacts as quickly as it used to. But I don't think any of the actors that we've heard reprising roles have sounded older per se, but they've sounded different. And Nana Visitor in particular sounded lower, whereas these two didn't. So maybe they haven't smoked.
And if you remember, Armin Shimmerman sounded very different as well.
He did. Yeah. But he didn't have the teeth.
He did. That was the thing.
Oh,
he brought the teeth. Yeah, but I don't think they fitted as well, possibly.
Well, your mouth does change with age, and you can't help that. So unless they'd fitted in with new teeth, he would sound different, I would think. But yeah, Nana Visitor or Nana Visitor, I genuinely don't know how you pronounce it. But anyway, her voice was lower register. So I'm wondering if that's a smoking thing.
Mm. But yeah, another great episode. Really enjoyed it. Some very funny bits in this one.
Yes.
I think they've upped the funny level again. Yeah. But some really touching bits as well, which I like in my Lower Decks.
Yeah, I don't. And also as well, I'm wondering how much of Rom the Idiot has always been an act. Because if he's not seen as a threat, we're doing our Deep Space Nine rewatch, we're in season 2 now, I think.
Yep.
If he's not perceived as a threat by Quark, then Quark won't try and take him out.
Yeah, he's happy to have him around because
So I'm kind of like, the next time we watch Deep Space Nine, I'm going to watch that just in a slightly different way, because here it's
at the
clear
moment
that it's an act.
He's still at the point in season 2 where he's kind of a bit of a villain because he tries to get Quark killed, doesn't he? Yeah, but he does quite quickly become absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
We heard from Jeffrey Mark Hyman. Maybe I'm biased due to my Deep Space Nine love, but this one was great. Seeing how Ferengi society had changed under Rom and Lita's leadership was a treat. Yeah, that's a point I didn't mention. All females are now clothed.
Yep.
So he's really had an impact there as well. This is a pretty jam-packed episode with storylines for each of our Lower Deckers too, including some more interesting character development for Mariner. We've heard from the God of Llamas.
Llamaslog, Scotty, Fixicare, Noi, Yayig. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. Now, oddly enough, I watched this episode of Lower Decks right off the back of listening to your podcast for the previous episode, and you might be surprised in my feedback I didn't actually mention the monoculture, the stereotyping, the, pathological fallacies, whatever, when it came to the races discussed in that episode. But, that's because in the episode of Lower Decks, as compared to, say, Strange New Worlds, it's all meant to be a bit of a joke anyway, isn't it? So I kind of letting those things slide, which is why I'm going to do exactly the same in this episode as well, because yes, here we are, we have the Ferengi-based episode, and we are treating all Ferengi as being the same, which, to be fair, is consistent type portrayed on Deep Space Nine, which isn't necessarily a good thing, and to be fair, they're not, because we've got Nog as a case in point, and Rom for that matter, and it's Rom. Rom is in this episode, and it is great to see him back. We've already had Quark, but to be honest, Rom is the better guy, isn't he? The one who ended up being the Grand Negus, so yeah, that's wonderful to see him in this episode, and it's great to see how he's used. It's great to see how the Ferengi are used, because everyone knows about the Ferengi, everyone knows what they're like, and so these expectations are kind of subverted in a way in this episode with Rom and Lita's dealings with Starfleet. Starfleet are there thinking it's going to be a pushover, and it turns out not to be, because Rom's playing the idiot, and he ends up getting the Starfleet Admiral right in over his head, and I love how that all plays out. I love how it ends up with Freeman basically having to double cross them, and then it turning out that was what Ron wanted anyway. He wanted the respect from Starfleet and the Federation of his people and culture, and he wanted that more than he wanted any Latin War acquisitions. And that's really a nice continuation of the Rom that we saw in Deep Space Nine, and the sort of Ferenginar that he wanted to build. So it's not just an unchanging monoculture, it's growing and changing as we saw it was going to, and that's good. Whether it's good for the Ferengi, though, I really can't say, because obviously I'm coming to it from a very human-centric, very Federation-centric, or very Western human-centric, very Western 21st century human-centric point of view with my own morals and principles, which aren't necessarily the same as any of the Ferengis. But, it's good to see that there's change anyway. But of course, that's kind of the B plot, because the A plots, really, are the rest of the Lower Decks team heading off down to Ferenginar for a vacation, and it's great stuff. I mean, I loved when they land on Ferenginar, Mariner's comment about the place. This is what heaven would look like if God was stupid, because, kind of like Vegas, and I've been to Vegas just for a couple of nights, and that was more than enough, so, it looks good, but it's actually not good at all, but interesting to visit at least once. Again, going back to what was said on your previous podcast, the Mariner story here is interesting, because it was commented in that one that Mariner has finally mellowed, and she's become a more mature character who actually considers other people, but in this one she's started to become a bit more morose, which seems to be a surprise out of nowhere, and this is actually going to be carried on through the rest of the season. No spoilers, but it's not just here for no reason this episode, just to bring her back to a character reset. So it does feel a bit odd, tonally, out of place, that she's suddenly being this trouble-rousing character that we're more familiar with from the early Lower Decks, as opposed to who she's come to be recently. So it was a bit jarring, that aspect of the episode, but on the other hand, her drinking cocktails like Dagger of the Mind and starting fights with Ferengi biker gangs who actually weren't looking for a fight, it was funny. It was funny, even if it feels a bit at odds, but once you've seen the entire season, season, it does kind of make a bit more sense. Then, of course, the main thread, if you can call it that, is Tendi and Rutherford pretending to be a married couple, and again, all the things they have to go through in their honeymoon suite. It's just wonderful. I love all that stuff. The whole Federation-themed bar with the shuttlecraft they have to consummate their marriage in, but the Enterprise D, the Voyager hanging above, the lounge jazz version of the Next Generation theme tune playing, which is, of course, actually the motion picture theme tune, but anyway, you know what I mean. But with that playing, yeah, it's wonderful, lovely little touches in all of those. And again, it's nice for the characters because there's a tendency in all of these things to pair up the male and the female characters, and although they're great friends, they clearly don't actually have any feelings like that towards each other at all. It's not that they're embarrassed about it and don't want to act on it, it's that they just don't. And hopefully this will make Peter happy because it shows that men and women can also just be friends. They can be really close friends, but they don't have to be romantically tangled together. So yeah, that was nice to see that. Although I do like the comment at the end that they actually have literally no chemistry together and then they sort of climb on top of each other in the Jeffries tube. So yeah, it's a bit confusing, but yeah, that's just how they are. And that is absolutely fine. And then there's Boimler. Again, his comment at the start, I'm going to pack my schedule so tight, I'll do everything, enjoy nothing. That rings a bell. That rings a bell. I've been guilty of that myself in the past. Although thankfully what I haven't become guilty of is ending up getting glued to the TV, but then again, TV isn't something they have in the Federation. So yeah, he's got some guilty pleasures here. So that is exactly the kind of thing he'd end up doing. Yeah, I just loved all that. And the fact he has to be dragged out of there kicking and screaming. Again, loved all that. It's a nice, silly little subplot, but it's very Boimler. So yeah, there's a lot packed into this episode, a lot going on, a lot of sight gags and a lot of spoken gags as well. I mean, I do love when McLeemo comes in and apparently breaks up Tendi and Rutherford's marriage when the proprietor asks, "Can I interest you in our home wrecker package?" And he replies, "You don't have to throw up in my mouth twice." Again, that's just a perfect comment for his species, what he'd be like, and proper Lower Deck. So yeah. So suffice to say, I did really enjoy this episode. The slight weirdness with Meredith's character aside, which as I say will come to be explained later, it's really good. A lot of fun. You spend a lot of time with all the characters and you see the Sweeters actually get one over a proper Federation flagship kind of starship, and the return of Rom from Deep Space Nine. So yeah, in all, just a great little episode. So as ever, I'll be looking forward to finding out what everyone else made of this. I hope everybody's ready for Christmas, and until next time, glory to you and your cast.
Cheers, sir.
Hope everybody's ready for Christmas.
Thanks for that, yeah. Well, yeah, planning is underway, needless to say.
Well, yes, in terms of this cast, yes, it is.
Oh, yes, that's true as well.
In terms of Mariner being jarring, I didn't find that because of the bit at the start where she's just zapping at this self-sealing stem bolt. She has built a huge amount of her identity. Well, not necessarily built it, maybe it has formed around the idea that she's against authority.
Yeah, and it's particular, and it's run throughout this season. Her problem's been with Ransom in particular, being nice to her.
Yeah.
So it has been a constant thing. I think it's just it's not been front and centre every episode.
No, but it's been
but
there.
it's been there in most of the episodes, I think.
And I think if something is a key part of your identity, whether it's something you've chosen or something that's happened to you, and then you lose it / it goes for whatever reason, I'm thinking particularly of people who are their job and then they retire, is the sort of thing that springs to mind.
Yeah.
It can give you a crisis. It doesn't require there to have been any trauma necessarily, but it gives you an identity crisis, and it gives you something that really, eats away at you. And so if her whole identity has been, I'm a rebel and I'm pushing against authority and nobody likes me and everybody's out to get me, and that doesn't work anymore, even though a key part of her knows that she's in a better place now than she was, there's going to be part of her that's just like it's a mind fuck. It's just like, what? I don't know who I am anymore. Anyway, that's my 2 pennies. Sorry.
And yes, following on from Deep Space Nine, there's much more nuanced treatment of the Ferengi. Here, Lower Decks has done the same thing. I mean, Quimp is quite an unusual Ferengi character. He's completely adorable.
Also, the guy who knocks into him and then is really apologetic.
Yeah, the Ferengi biker is, yeah. The whole concept of Ferengi biker is another thing. Ferengi Bikers from Mars is now a series I want to see.
Yeah, because that's what it made me think of, is the biker mice from Mars. That's totally what the look was, wasn't it?
It was, really.
Yeah.
It's weird enough to see a ripped Ferengi, but yeah.
Yeah. Will other people know what biker mice from Mars is?
They can always look it up on YouTube, so... I mean, it's got to have been a United States cartoon, so...
Okay. It was just a bit surreal, though.
Yeah. It wasn't big, wasn't it, in this country? I think it's fair to say, not in the same way as, like, Thundercats or...
Banana Man.
Or He-Man, yeah. Banana Man. Yeah, that was big.
Just because I can't remember whether it was Lower Decks or the original
One of
series,
them
but
did,
we
didn't
mentioned it. That's why Banana Man sprang to mind anyway.
It was Lower Decks. It was the plant guy.
Yes.
That's what brought that one up.
Yeah.
Right, let's find out what Purry thought.
On 2 Now, we begin a new series of BBC Television's International Sheepdog Championship. One man and his dog.
Hello Orgs, a slightly disorganised Purry here calling from a morning dog walk. Harry's here as well. He didn't watch the episode though, so he's not going to provide much feedback. But the episode we're talking about is Parth Ferengi's Heart Place, something akin to that. It's obviously a fun on Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, although it has very little to do with the actual episode. It's still quite fun. Again, we have seen Ferengi before, but I kind of like the way they took it up to 11. The thing about, what was it, here's the toilets that you're charged for, and here's the machine that charges you for using the charging machine. That sort of thing. That was quite fun. And yeah, we've got basically 3 threads in this one, as all our lower deckers are on a sweet deal to basically find the good night spots on Ferengi, because they're thinking of joining. Well, actually 4 threads, because you also do have the one with Freeman actually, again, being a good captain, which I like. Passing traffic, a school bus if you're curious. But what we had here, so like I say, your lower deckers, Tendy and Rutherford, I do like the fact that they're mainly a friend relationship, because obviously this is they're kind of set up as a couple, a fake couple, but that fake couples actually get sent to, was it the salt mines or something? That was quite fun, so they've now got to pretend to be a couple, and I think it also kind of parodied a lot of these really awkward, sort of very public display of affection kind of places, which, to be honest, are my absolute nightmare. I would absolutely hate somewhere where you're put as a couple in a position of, wedding aside, because obviously I had that with a wedding, where you're put in that position. We had the very small plot of Boimler just getting hooked on Ferengi trash television, and I loved the cop landlords, it's good to be swindled by a friend and that sort of thing, and then an office romance where everyone's having affairs, that sort of stuff was just good fun. Throwaway gags, and they didn't overstay their welcome. You only basically got maybe about 5 minutes of Boimler in his hotel room, but that was enough, and again, it works for a throwaway gag. We've got a little of Mariner and the fact that she's kind of getting edgy because things are going well. I think we had this mentioned before, she's got kind of a self-destructive streak. And it was nice for her to see the Ferengi with the monocle again. Again, just nice little callbacks to earlier episodes to see him. We did find out he was a friend. So we had that. The other part of it was the negotiations to join, for Ferengi to join the Federation, and it was really nice to have Rom and Lita back again. And I loved the way Freeman saw through it instantly, but the Admiral is absolutely sure that he's got it right, and that they're desperate to join. It'll be the quickest signing, and he's willing to give away loads of stuff. And yes, Freeman gets them, and it was also the thing of understanding the cultures, which I thought was a really impressive bit. Again, very Trek, that actually to get the negotiation right, he was essentially just going through it in a normal way, but to get the negotiation right, they had to understand the culture. So actually a good message. So overall, again, was it laugh out loud funny? There were some good chortles in it, some good bits. I loved the bit with Miglamoo as well. So there were some good bits, but yeah, maybe not laugh out loud, but actually some good solid Trek episode stuff, so I really liked it. So yeah, all it remains for me to say is do keep up the good work. I'll always look forward to the podcast, and I'll hopefully feedback in the next one, but until then, bye for now.
Bye.
Bye, doggy. Our dog. Hello, Lila.
Yeah, she's awake now.
She was asleep. She woke up when you said you were on the morning walk, and then she could hear all the noises.
You said the W word.
Yes.
Oh, nose.
We have.
She's looking very confused, like, it's far too late for a walk.
You do look very tired.
But yes, it is nice seeing Freeman being a really good captain in this, because she has her moments.
Yeah, and that is nice. And also, the other thing as well is that, like you said, none of the gags outstayed their welcome. None of them went on for too long, or even the Boimler one, which was quite long.
Well, that was used very sparingly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And much more effective for it, because there is a limit to how much a Boimler sat there in his pants you can watch.
But yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah. Okay, well, the next Lower Decks episode...
3rd of October.
It's A Few Badgies More. Wow. I wonder who might feature in that.
Brownies.
Yes, okay.
We used to have to get loads of badges in the brownies.
Badgies, not badges.
Oh, okay.
As in Badgie.
Oh.
He's back.
I've got one of them. Martin got me badgie.
And then next Thursday, the 26th, I think.
Yes.
Yes, so okay, right. We're covering the original series episode, Is There in Truth No Beauty? And we'll be finding out if there is an actual answer to that weird question.
It's a weird ass question, isn't it?
Well, until then, take care. Cheery bye.
Bye. The art for Borgcast Lower Decks is the fantastic work of Charlie Thorburn.
All music referenced is for illustrative purposes only, and no copyright infringement is intended.
Find our website at borgcast.libsyn.com.
We have a Facebook group which you're welcome to join.
You can find the Borgcast playouts on Spotify for your listening pleasure.
Visit our Tumblr site at borgcast.tumblr.com, where you'll find images accompanying the episodes discussed in this cast.
Send emails or MP3s to borgcast@gmail.com.
Shut it down!